We have finally made it into the outfield, and it's such an intriguing position headed into 2025. Should you grab one early, then wait? Do you need two at the top? We have the answers to that and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ahne, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ahne. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It will subscribe you to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode, or if you're listening on the audio side of things on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And lastly, but most importantly, to you guys and us this time of year, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. Through Subtext, it's an in-depth personalized experience through text messaging alerts that you're going to get right to your phone, offering so much more than we can in these 30-minute episodes. And if you are interested in joining us on Subtext, the link is in the bio if you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. And Matt, I set it up top. We finally have made it to the outfield. We have, our top 12s, as we've been doing so far. And just to let the people know, once again, our rankings are always based on 5x5 head-to-head categories leagues. That's what Matt and I specialize in. And outfield, we're going to have a couple episodes, at least 2, possibly 3, just to get you guys through the depth at the position. It is a little bit of position where you have to usually draft at least 3. Some leagues do 5 outfielders. But Matt, why don't you take it away here, brother?
Well, welcome in. We are here. This is fun, and we are going to roll right into this. Up on the screen, if you're watching on the tubes, is our rankings. This is going to be fun. I like this episode. We're going to go descending order. Probably do 3 episodes. If we're feeling frisky, maybe 4. Depends. But yeah. So at my top, I got Aaron Judge, then Kyle Tucker, then Juan Soto, Mookie Betts, Fernando Tatis, Yordan Alvarez, Corbin Carroll, Julio Rodriguez, Jackson Chourio, Kyle Schwarber, Luis Robert, and Marcell Ozuna. Dom, you want to read off yours?
Yeah, man. And by the way, I see you finally have turned the corner on my boy Ozuna there. You actually got him ranked higher than me. But I'll get into mine. I got Aaron Judge at 1. I have Aaron Judge at 1. I have Juan Soto at 2. Mookie Betts at 3. Kyle Tucker at 4. Fernando Tatis Jr. at 5. Yordan Alvarez at 6. Julio Rodriguez at 7. Ronald Acuña at 8. Corbin Carroll at 9, Jackson Chourio at 10, Jaren Duran at 11, and Teoscar Hernandez at 12. And Matt, this one is going to be fun because we actually have some differences here. So, we can kind of talk a couple of things over and kind of see where we land at the end of the episode. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, it gets real debatable really quickly as you get lower into the outfield. It's really just a matter of who you're feeling safe with at the end of the day. And that's essentially how I did it. I mean, I like your rankings. There's
I like those too. I definitely do like yours too. And like you said, I feel like outfield, after you get past maybe the top 7-ish, maybe 8 in some situations, depending on who you like, who you don't like. Some people might like the top 10, but it gets very debatable very quick.
So I mean, I want to kick it off what I think our biggest difference and in our rankings, and I don't know if you want to start with the defense. And then I can go in with the
that sounds like a plan. I mean, I don't know where you're leaning, so it's going to be interesting. But I'm always ready to talk some rankings.
So you can start it off with the defense of why in the hell do you have Jaren Duran ranked so high in your top 12? The question I'll pose to you not only is why, but do you really feel comfortable walking away with him as your OF1?
I'll say this, in a 12-man league, I don't think there's 12 outfielders in general that I feel comfortable walking away with as my number 1 outfielder. So it's kind of a tough question to answer because in a 12-man league, I think at least 3 people, maybe only 2, maybe 2 to 3 people walk away with a player that I genuinely don't think is a number 1 outfielder going into 2025. I like my top 9. Jackson Chourio isn't really a sure thing, but I think he's as close to a sure thing as you can get with a young player like him. And then once you get to Duran, and after that, it kind of gets debatable. But I will talk some Jaren Duran. He's with those Boston Red Sox, in case you didn't know. Finally had the breakout year we've all been waiting for a while, since Jaren Duran's even been in the minors. So in 2024, as a 27-year-old, Jaren Duran played 160 games. He had 671 at-bats, 111 runs, 48 doubles, 14 triples, 21 homers, 75 RBIs, 34 stolen bases. The walk to strikeout ratio wasn't really good at all, and he hit 285. I think Jaren Duran just really needed a chance. I know as he was coming up, there was a lot of mouths to feed in Boston, and he really never got the chance to flourish. We saw a little bit in 2023 in the 102 games. He had 295. It was only 8 homers, still 24 bags though. And then last year he played a whole season. He really showed off strong numbers in, even in those points leagues where you're getting 48, where you got 48 doubles and 14 triples. He excelled. 111 runs was amazing. The 21 home runs is nothing to, snatch at. That's a decent amount of homers. You'll take it. The 34 steals really was great. And the plus batting average. So he's really, a 3-category stud when you're talking runs, steals, and batting average. He contributed in homers. He wasn't a downer in RBI 75. I mean, I'll take it. And then, I really think I don't want to say another level, but I think there's a world where Duran snaps into a tiny bit more power, possibly. Boston is in a huge park to play in. So I think, 25 homers might not be out of the question. The speed with Duran is, elite 96th percentile speed. So, the speed is going to be good. 35 steals, definitely in the questions. And then even when you look at some of the underlying stuff with power, the exit velocity was good. He barreled the ball well. He hit the ball hard. The bat speed was there. So like I said, 25 plus homers, I don't think it's out of the question either. So I think I'm taking what I saw last year, and, it's going to be 28. I really like what I'm seeing with Duran. I think out of all the names that we get to when you start looking from like 10 to 20, he's one of those guys that I say, hey, I think I could bank on him for at least 3 strong categories.
So I get the conservativeness of, picking him early, and, you pretty much can expect a repeat of last year. The thing I have is, like, when I'm playing in a league and I'm drafting, and, okay, am I going to walk away with a guy that's really going to and return on that pick? And I don't think he will. Like, even if he does exactly what he did last year, he isn't going to finish as a first round talent. And that's really just where you're banking, what you're putting your odds on is, hey, he should take that step forward and become it. Even with 25 home runs, he's still limited on the ribbies, and that's a big factor. And yeah, the stolen
75 ain't bad though. I mean, for everything else he does, I'll take the 75. I don't need him to be elite in 5 categories.
But that's the thing, though. You're taking him as your OF1.
I won't draft him there. I did preface that. I will not draft him where his price is, but you have to, make the rankings to what they are. I won't draft him at his price. Absolutely not. Well, there's other positions I'll fill there.
Sure, but like the upside versus him versus, let's just say, a guy that I have one spot ranked higher than Jaren Duran in your rankings, Kyle Schwarber. The output and the upside is way higher for Schwarber. He's done it over a couple of years. He's had more home runs. The only thing that really is a knock on him is, essentially his batting average. And yes, he doesn't steal bases, but elite runs, elite power, elite ribs, and he's going to be a daily contributor. I can go and find guys that are, technically runs and stolen base specialists, and in a Nico Horner,
average 285, 290.
Okay, but I can literally draft the same guy in Nico Horner like 100 picks later. You know what I'm saying?
Nico Horner.
Yeah, it's only because he hits about 8 more home runs than Nico Horner, but literally the run output is probably going to be similar. The ribby output's going to be similar, and even the batting average is going to be pretty close. So, and then the stolen bases, actually, if anything, Nico Horner might get more. So you look at it and go, okay, you're pretty much just drafting a higher priced, more expensive. It's crystal instead of glass, kind of Swarovski versus the Dollar Tree down the corner of a player that is essentially Nico Horner and not Nico Horner. If Jaren Duran takes that step forward and works into that power, that average exit velocity and things, sure. Thing is, though, his launch angle doesn't really show that he's going to be able to really make it over the green monster and things like that in that short porch. I just don't believe in the talent to be a 1. I haven't ranked 16. It's not like I have buried him. I'm not saying this kid's gonna, be a bust. And no, this is more for the viewers, not for you. I know you know my rankings, but it's not an indictment. I just don't feel he's a guy that I want to walk away with as my OF1. And that's really just all it is. It's not the poo poo. I just feel like the hype has gone too far, and I think we need to come back to earth on Jaren Duran and maybe take a step back and really just, you know, look at how we really want to construct our team with a first like a ROF1, and that isn't Jaren Duran. He's an OF2, a stabilizer in my opinion. And that's what I don't want on my first pick. I want upside. But coming up next, since we've already had such riveting debate, which is, so unlike the other couple episodes, you know, um we'll go back and forth on that. But coming up next, we'll probably talk about another guy we probably disagree, and then probably some guys we like, and that's all coming up next.
And all right, folks, are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you saturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's a perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk on a road trip or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And guess what, guys? I don't have to steal my dad's anymore because I stocked up of some on my own, and you guys need to too. And if you love cracking open every shell for a satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more today. And then I want to talk to you guys one more time about the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on the Subtext platform. It's going to be your ultimate fantasy baseball advantage as this offseason unfolds. You're going to rely on Matt and I for our dynamic content. You're going to get real-time alerts right to your phone, including our 2025 rankings, sleepers, breakouts, busts, and so much more. I know Matt and I are just finished up our sleepers, breakouts, and busts. Those are coming out soon. Matt has the tiers in his rankings already. I'm working on mine, but my rankings have been fully updated to right now, so you guys are going to want to make sure you grab that. So subscribe now to the Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, where the path to your victories begin. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. Link is in bio wherever listening, watching, available on any of our social media platforms. All right, Matt, let's jump back in here. We did some good talk on Jaren Duran. I'll kind of throw it back your way. Let's talk some Kyle Schwarber. I know you kind of tapped on it a little bit. Maybe get a little bit more in depth there.
All right. Well, since I wasn't expecting, you got to give me at least 1 second here.
Oh, no, I could go first. I can kind of talk about why I'm a little bit lower.
I got it. No. So I completely understand. So look, a lot of people probably are down on him. What? Because of the batting average. But I mean, look, this dude isn't actually had a better year than the year before, which is great. Even if the batting average kind of takes a step back, I'm kind of okay with it. Let me read off his stats and I'll kind of go so, people can actually follow along. 573 at bats, 110 runs, 22 doubles, 38 bombs, 104 ribs, 5 stolen bases. And, this was a good year for him. 106 walks to 197 strikeouts, batting 248. Plate discipline was better this year. I really did a good job in those regards and managed to just get on base. That was really a great year. Now, there's a world in a way where he goes back to hitting 218, 220, 230, and I'm totally fine with that. Anywhere to get from 38 home runs, which is, I think, a fair baseline, to about 45 to 50 home runs. It's more, 50, no, it's not sales. It's like 48 would be a fair expectation. There's a 10 home run swing. If I get a guy in the first round not first round, but as my OF1 that is going to put up anywhere from 38 to 48 home runs and have over 100 runs and 100 ribs, and I'm going to have that all day long. I'm gonna be excited about it. Am I really happy about walking away with him as my OF1? Probably not. Actually, as I'm doing this, I'm probably going to swap a guy. But it's one of those things where I at least know the upside's there, the potential's there, and if he repeats the 248 batting average, you're really happy with that. That means he didn't kill you in that average. He actually kind of was pretty much on the meh level, and you're not mad at that. Which you don't have to worry about it and kind of supersede that. If anything, you're gonna have a boost. So with me and Kyle Schwarber, I just feel a lot better about it. Everything screams, hey, he could do exactly what he's been doing. Why pretty much bet against a guy that's just been this consistent and this strong and powered through everything? Average exit velocity at 94 miles an hour, barreling almost 16% of the time, creating contact over 50% of the time. He is a guy that just emulates power, especially out of the leadoff. Schwarber's somebody that you're getting a locked and loaded OF1 at least.
Yeah, I see this. I feel like the kind of same thing, like the way you felt about Duran is the way I feel about Schwarber. I still love him. I have him ranked as my 17th outfielder, and this is a big thing. And I kind of want to take a second to talk about this as we're talking about outfielder. It honestly almost becomes like a team construction type of thing, right? At this point in the draft, you probably have a bat, at least one already. I'd hope you have at least one. I'd hope you have two. I hope you'd have two because they're probably both third round picks, if I'm not mistaken, late second, early third round picks. So the thing is, how do you want to build your team, right? Or do you want to go for the guy that has the big pop, big RBI numbers, fluctuation in batting average in Schwarber, or do you want the guy where it's a little bit less pop? A little bit less RBIs. Runs, actually, Schwarber's a big runs guy too, so the runs are actually kind of similar. Where do you need the 30 steals and the good batting average? It kind of almost just comes down to that for me. I see where you like Schwarber a little bit better, because of the consistency. He's done it for a while now. I honestly almost would rather him sell out for the power and give me the 40 plus homers with a 220-ish batting average, right? Then the 38 home runs with a little bit of the higher batting average, because I feel like I like the pop from Schwarber. But you know what? I can't hate on him. I like him, honestly. I've drafted him a couple times, mock drafts and stuff like that. I think he's a same thing with like even Duran. I would love Duran as an outfielder number 2, but unfortunately we have to have outfielders in our top 12, right? I think they're both great outfielders. I'm not going to argue either way, to be honest with you. I don't prefer that much one or the other. I feel like for me personally, it just comes down to the way I'm building my team at that point. And like we said, when you get to 10 to 20, it's kind of like any man's game. Like, you can kind of like pick your favorites and, build the team that way. Let's move on though. A good talk there on Schwarber. Let's see, who else do I kind of want to get into in our rankings? Where else do we kind of have a difference here that we can kind of talk about a little bit? A lot of our other guys are close. Matt, let's talk about somebody that I'm down on. Maybe you could talk me back into him because he's somebody that I own and I'm a big fan of. Can you talk me back into Luis Robert? Because I'm feeling a little bit down on him. I have him in one of my big keeper leagues. I've had him since he was a rookie, but I don't know, man. He's been falling in my rankings.
So here's the thing, right? Everybody feels the scorn. We all got super excited at the fact that, he had that big 2023 season where he was actually managed to play 145 games, 546 at bats, 90 runs, 36 doubles, 38 bombs, 80 ribs, 20 stolen bases, and batted 264. I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand why everybody's scared of him, other than the fact that he can go down to injury. And he had a bad year due to the fact that he was coming back from injury that kind of really hampered him. I think his whole performance the whole year. And you just look at the upside and what he has done in his career. Everything is completely obtainable. That 2023 season is pretty much a baseline. You act like people that were real difference makers that would have gave him more runs or ribbies left the team. Eloy Jimenez could never stay on the team. We call it Tim Anderson really wasn't that great 2023 and really was bad. Wasn't even on the team in 2024. And there was nobody else that was really around him anyway. So the fact that he got 80 ribs and was able to produce 90 runs and, get the 38 home runs and, get 20 stolen bases, which I think there's another level to that as well. And the bat 266, how is that not repeatable? It makes no sense to me how people are just so down. So he's coming at a value, but for me, he's my 11th outfielder. I have to rank somebody at 11. He is 11. I think the upside is unreal too. If he manages to get traded at the trade deadline and he actually goes to a team where there's going to be guys around him, the ceiling is unbelievable, and you just got yourself a league winner halfway through the season. So Luis Robert is somebody I definitely want. You're being able to draft him as an OF2 or even I think a 3 in some.
Yeah, he's coming off the board right now at on the 33rd outfielder, pick 110,
which is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah,
crazy. I'm gonna rattle off a couple names, and you're gonna tell me if their upside or their performance makes really any other difference. Let's go with, I don't know, James Wood or him. Who would you pick?
If you're asking me right now today, I have Wood a little bit higher.
Okay. O'Neal Cruz or Luis Robert?
I think I have Robert higher. If I don't, I need it because I like Robert.
Brett Rooker or Lawrence Butler?
Lawrence Butler or Luis Robert?
So either one of those guys over Robert.
Oh, either one of them over Robert.
Mm-hmm.
I have Robert over both of them.
Right. These are guys all going ahead.
And I can confirm I have Robert over O'Neal Cruz too. I have Robert over all of them.
These are all guys going over him, and quite honestly, none of these guys had the upside that Robert has, which kind of drives me crazy as to the fact that, okay, if I'm going to go after an OF2, which in my case a 1, there's only a few guys you'd probably draft over. You're going to draft Wood because of the upside. You're going to draft who was the other guy I said besides him? The Teoscars and things, because they've done it last year and you feel a little bit more safer, but the upside is nowhere near Luis Robert at this point. And even a proven method at this point for Wood versus Robert. It's just a matter of preference. I love Wood. I love Robert even more. So we'll be able to hear Dom's response on the other side of this. Stick around. It's going to be a good one. And here we go. In sports, having a winning strategy is everything. It's how the best teams make the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the Olympics. The same goes for life. Having a strategy for life insurance from Select Quotes can protect your financial legacy and keep your family's future secure. Select Quotes makes it even easier to find the perfect insurance policy. As America's leading insurance broker with nearly 40 years of experience, they've helped over 2 million customers find $700 billion in coverage since 1985. What sets Select Quotes apart is their personal touch. Unlike other brokers that offer one-size-fit-all policies, their licensed agents tailor coverage to fit your unique needs. If you're in good health, you might even qualify for same-day coverage up to $5 million with no medical exam required. And it's more affordable than you think. You can get up to a $1 million coverage for as little as $20 a month. Get the right life insurance for you for less. SelectQuotes.com/locked-on. Go to SelectQuotes.com/locked-on today and get started. SelectQuotes.com/locked-on. Select Quotes, they shop, you save, and quite honestly, life insurance is the most important thing you could possibly have to protect your family. You don't want to be without it. Trust me, I know as a family man. SelectQuotes.com/locked-on. And all right, Dom, you tell me why I talked into it a little bit more, or you're just still at it on him out of a top 12.
No, I don't know if he'll get into my top 12. I'll say that much. I think he's going to stay more in the OF2 range for me. I could see him moving up a couple of spots. The biggest thing, you kind of hit on two big things for me with Luis Robert. And if maybe only one of those existed in his situation, I'd have him higher, but it's two things. One, the injury history. His injury history is really starting to lean towards the Royce Lewises and the Alberto Mondeses and the Byron Buxtons of the world. I'll just read off a few. Last year was a hip flexor. It was the MCL where he missed almost the whole season before. A wrist the year before that. A flexor tendon. A hip issue. So it's kind of starting to look like a laundry list of different things. I know we talked about Royce Lewis the other day in a third base episode. Check that one out if you want to hear some Royce Lewis talk. I kind of just mentioned injuries add up over time, and you kind of just affects your ability too, like how good you are at anything if the injuries are starting to affect you. Not saying that's the case with Robert. I still like him. I still think he's a great player. And then it's the team context too, right? So it's the two things in one. If he's going to be hurt and he's on a bad team, and I know you were talking about the roster where he had a good year, but that roster was way better than this one. And I know that roster wasn't good, but this roster they're bringing into 2025, Matt, they have a 34-year-old Mike Tauchman leading off, Robert second, Benintendi third, Andrew Vaughn fourth, Jose Rojas fifth, Leanne Sosa sixth, Miguel Vargas seventh, Colson Montgomery eighth, and Corey Lee ninth. I'll be honest with you, there's two or three guys that I'm not even really truly sure who they are or the stats on those guys. But there's not really much talent there at all. So even if he has to play half the season there, it might benefit you to have him and hold him on. Maybe you get traded to the Dodgers. Who knows? The Dodgers are going to Dodger. And that might be the best thing in the world where, going into 2026, Luis Robert might be a top 10, top 5 outfielder if he goes to a team like that. But I'm not the kind of person to, bank on a trade or, health from a guy who hasn't really shown much health in their career. So that's why I prefer him at outfielder number 2 than 1. But I will say this: ADP on the last month for the last month on NFBC for Luis Robert is the 21st outfielder, pick 82, so a lot higher than what we saw on Fantasy Pros as the 33rd outfielder overall.
I mean, I hear you. Sorry, if you're watching on YouTube, you probably see me stroking my beard. I did not realize they have Colson Montgomery slotted in to actually start the season off. That is intriguing. Prospect. That is intriguing. He's a good prospect too. He's
very good.
So I mean, he could work his way up. Not that he's going to make a serious difference for Robert, but I'm not mad at the top four there. I mean,
come on, you hate Andrew Vaughn.
I mean, it's not a matter of Andrew Vaughn. That's the exciting part. Let me tell you. It's more of okay, like you got Benintendi, a guy that, obviously was more of like the buzzer than anything else up in Boston, but you know, you still got to look at it, and the team isn't horrendous. I mean,
Yeah,
Tauchman,
man, I'm sorry. I have to
he's
just that's
horrendous.
a horrendous team. That
Uh,
team is horrible.
as a MLB team, absolutely. Can they get the job done for him? Can they? How comparable is it to the 2023 team? About the same. Andrew Vaughn was there both times. Um, a guy like Benintendi, Tim Anderson, and Mike Tauchman. Hmm, I guess anybody that was sitting in front of Luis Robert in the first time. It's never been pretty, but yet he can get it done. That's really just where it's at with it. It's not a matter of the talent around him. The team is atrocious in terms of that, but it's not the worst team he's played with. It's pretty much okay. It's parallel. They pretty much took one poop sandwich and traded in for another poop sandwich, and it is what it is. I'm not afraid of it. The dude is going to do it. He might have to. He might have to move down a smidge. Like if you were to see the adjustments I did live, Luis Robert is now at 12, but it's really just I can't get Teoscar in there. I don't know why. Definitely not getting Duran in there. I refuse to be the guy that puts James Wood in my top 12, even though I desperately want to. It's just one of those things. It's so hard to rank them at this point. It's all splitting hairs. Who do I think is going to give me the best return? It's going to be Luis Robert.
And that's fair enough. So I think that's enough Luis Robert talk. We'll kind of jump in here somewhere else. But I did pick Luis Robert. I'm not sure if there's anyone else there that you want to talk about, or someone you want to highlight. Maybe somebody
So
they saw. Okay, of course, I got you.
I'm gonna hand it off. I'll give you one guy to talk about, and you can pick it apart. Just explain to the fans why you don't have Marcell Ozuna in your top 12 after the year he had.
It's my boy.
Offended. But I gotta get out of here. Peace out.
All right. As Matt heads out, I do have Marcell Ozuna at 13 in my ranking. So I'm a big Marcell Ozuna guy. I drafted him the last 2 years, had a lot of shares. He helped me win quite a few championships. So, Matt's got him one spot higher than me. I don't think it's that huge of a difference. Honestly, I could see me moving Marcell Ozuna up. Maybe Teoscar and Jaren Duran take a little bit of dip. But I will say this. In most platforms, Marcell Ozuna does not retain outfield eligibility. I want to preface that. I know if you play on Yahoo, where Matt and I play most of our fantasy baseball, he does retain outfield eligibility. So that's cool. I will say this. If you have to draft him as a utility, he's definitely not going to be up this high. You kind of have to, take that into account as you're drafting somebody like Marcell Ozuna. I kind of want to see where his current ADP is. I'll pull that up for you guys here as we're doing this. But you know what? He's strong, man. He hits for a good batting average over the last 2 years while he's been healthy. He's coming off the board right now, Marcell Ozuna, as pick 59. It's a very rich pick to throw somebody in your utility. But if you were going to do it and you missed out on Ohtani, Ozuna is very talented. He's somebody that if you take him, you can work around having him in your utility spot. But, let's not forget, he played 162 games last year as 33-year-old. I don't know if the health hangs up. He had a little problems in 2021, 2022 with his health. That's kind of why you saw those seasons didn't have great statistics, but 39 home runs last year for Ozuna, 40 the year before, over 100 RBIs both of those years, 302 batting average across 162 games from Marcell Ozuna last year. So, he was feeling great. He hit 274 the year before, as I mentioned, and the runs were good both years. 96 runs last year for Ozuna, 84 runs in 2023 for Ozuna. I think he's somebody that, if you're drafting on Yahoo, it's such a cheat code. He's somebody that needs to be, moved up a bit for sure. And I think, after, having this conversation with you guys and Matt, he'd probably find his way into my top 12. I probably do feel a little bit more secure with somebody like a Marcell Ozuna than maybe a Jaren Duran or a Teoscar Hernandez, just because we know who Marcell Ozuna is. And even before the last 2 years with the Braves, don't forget Marcell Ozuna hit 37 home runs back in 2017. He followed up with 29 homers in 2019. He's hit for a 312 batting average before in 2017 when he hit those 37 homers. He hit 280 back in 2018 at 23 homers with those Cardinals. The injury bug is the biggest thing with Ozuna. As I wrap things up here, guys, outfield is a very tricky position. It has been for the last few years, especially if you're playing in a 5 outfielder league. I will say this. I love walking away with one of my top 8. I feel very comfortable with those top 8. Acuna is somebody who we really didn't talk about here. I'll give you guys a second on Ronald Acuña. The thing with him is he could be the best player in all of baseball once he gets back from his injury, but he also could be a 75, 60, between 65 and 70% of himself. I think he's still going to run a little bit. I think the pop's going to be there, but we kind of just need to see it. He's the biggest scratch-off card in fantasy baseball this year. It's literally a league-winning pick if Acuna can give you 75 to 80% of himself, which is definitely in the cards. So once again, my top 8 feel very comfortable with. I like Corbin, Carroll, and Jackson Chourio as number 1 outfielders as well. I think they can get the job done. Anything besides them, I'm feeling a little bit questionable after that. With that being said, guys, that is all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. And after you make us your first listen each and every day, which we appreciate. Our everydayers and our new listeners, go check out our boy Sully over at Locked On MLB. Make him your second listen each and every day. But once again, guys, until next time. So